Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a little video here in case anybody orders a Beecore for a tiny whoop, and my problem was I plugged the battery in and only a single motor would spin up, and I couldn't get rid of it in any which way I tried. Went into beta flight, set it to brushed, did all the requisite steps, and it still spun up a single motor. So I had an idea that I might have a bad or open MOSFET, and each motor will have a little MOSFET beside the plug on the bottom of these Beecore boards. I would imagine a lot of these other little brush boards are similar too. Well, I know they are because I fixed mine. Anyway, I'm going to show you what you need to do. It takes a steady hand, a little bit of patience, but it's dead simple. Okay? Now, what is a MOSFET? A MOSFET, if you look on this other board, I had this little copter that I took apart just to grab the spare out of it. A MOSFET is this tiny little thing in front of my thumbnail. It has 3 pins on it, and basically it acts as a switch. You can see the one up here better, 3 pins. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put it down, get the light on it, and point at it to give you a better idea what you're looking at. Okay, that's it right there. Okay, can you see the 3 little contacts on it? What you're going to need to do is find an old brushed little quad and desolder that. And you're going to want to use the finest soldering tip you've got. This one is mine, and it needs a bit of a scrub because I'm having a problem getting solder to stick to it. That's besides the point. Anyway, so what you want to do is, how I did it was I have an air gun, but it wasn't quite working for heat. So I took my soldering iron, put a little blob of solder on it to heat the leaded solder that they use on these boards, and just touch it, push it, pick it off at the same time. And what you want to do is flip, sort of try on the single side first where the single contact is, and then you can flip one side of the MOSFET up, and then just touch to this contact and push it away with the heated iron until it's free. And then what you want to do is basically on your bad board, on your little tiny whoop board, or whatever it is that's not working, you're going to set your multimeter to continuity, okay? So it beeps. When you touch these two together, you want your multimeter to beep, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put the ground on one pin here, and then with your other one, you're going to hold it there. And then with your other one, you're going to touch these 2 contacts here and here. If one of them beeps, that means there's continuity between these 2 points. And that means the MOSFET is open and is probably bad. And that was the case for the MOSFET right down here. Actually, it was probably this one over here. But beside each of these plugs, you'll have a MOSFET which corresponds to each of these motors. So you want to test these, make sure there's no beeping or continuity from one side of the MOSFET to the other. When you find the bad one, well, it'll be the one next to the motor plug-in that doesn't work, or that spins up every time you plug in a battery. Desolder it the same way you desoldered the one off your spare board. And then what you're going to do, this is where the tricky part comes in. If you've got really good eyes, you'll be fine. If not, you might have to get a magnifier. Pin it down with a pair of tweezers, like this. Put a little blob of solder on the end of your soldering iron, and then just touch that soldering blob to the contact, which is right above the contact on the board, and this will stick them right on there. Do that to each side. It took me less than 10 seconds to do all 3. And zoom in, check your work, make sure you've got a decent contact and you're not touching anything, and you're not touching, sorry, you should be looking at this one. You can't really see it because it's all together now, but make sure you're not touching it or bridging any solder points. Okay, and then plug a battery in. As soon as I plugged the battery in, I had no movement of any motors, which was exactly what I wanted. And then I armed it, and it spun it up, put it back together, and flew it around the room. It's saved me waiting for a new one from Banggood. All right, I hope this helped somebody out. And there you go. If you've got any questions, just leave them down below. Thanks.